I met this guy named Jay in a Facebook travel group. He was charming, had that smooth energy, and always posted pictures from different countries. He called himself a passport gentleman instead of a passport bro, which already should have been a red flag. But I wasn't thinking about red flags. I was thinking about how nice it would feel to be treated for once. We started messaging privately. First, it was casual. Then it turned into phone calls and late-night texts. One day, out of the blue, he asked if I wanted to come to Brazil for a week. He said he'd book the flight, pay for the Airbnb, and show me a side of life I deserved. I said yes. I mean, why not? I was single, curious, and honestly flattered. He picked me up from the airport with flowers and a big smile. I was immediately caught up in the vibe. Our place had a rooftop pool and a balcony that looked out at the ocean. He took me out dancing. We tried street food. The way he looked at me, I felt like the main character in some vacation romance movie. But on day 4, everything shifted. We were shopping downtown, and he went into a store to grab something real quick. While I waited outside, this woman walked up to me with a baby on her hip. She stared at me for a second and said in perfect English, "He lives here, with me, that's my man." I froze. But when Jay came back and saw her standing there, his whole energy changed. He didn't say a word, just grabbed my arm and pulled me away. That night, I confronted him. He finally admitted it. Yes, they lived together. Yes, and yes, he'd done this before, flying out women for fun. He said he didn't see it as cheating because he wasn't emotionally invested. Can you believe that? The worst part, he had only booked his return ticket. I had to use my own money to find a cheap hotel and stay there until it was time to fly back, alone, embarrassed, heartbroken. I thought I was being swept off my feet. Turns out, I was just a pit stop on his passport tour. Some men leave the country looking for love, but all they really bring with them is baggage, because we're all listening.
I know I'm wrong, so just hear me out. My best friend turned 29, and we decided to go all out in Vegas. We booked a suite, got our hair done, matched our outfits. Everything was planned. She gave me her clutch to hold while we were getting ready for the pool party. She said, "Here, don't lose this. It's got all my birthday money in it." So I tucked it into my purse. No big deal. She went off to get in the pool. I stayed on the deck, sipping tequila and getting hyped. A few drinks in, I'm vibing with some guys near the cabana. They were funny, flirty, and kind of dared me to make it rain with my birthday money. Obviously, I should have said no. But tipsy me? Oh, she's always trying to be a moment. So I grabbed her $300 in cash, stood up on the chair, and let it fly. Bills in the air. People screaming. Phones out. And for a split second, I felt like I was the star of my own reality show. Until I turned around and saw my best friend standing there, soaking wet, holding her sandals, with this look on her face, like she didn't even know who I was. She said, "Where's my money?" I tried to laugh it off, but she wasn't playing. She said, "You just threw my entire birthday cash on strangers?" I panicked. I lied. I said it fell into the pool, but she saw everything. She didn't talk to me for the rest of the trip. She flew home early. I sent her $100 the next week and wrote a long apology in the notes. She blocked me. Looking back, I was doing too much. Trying to be seen, trying to be wild, trying to be the fun one. But in doing all that, I ruined the one day that was supposed to be about her. Sometimes the most expensive mistake you make isn't about the money. It's about who you lose in the process. Because we're all listening.
So this was honestly just a misunderstanding. But I've never lived it down. I was on vacation in Punta Cana, minding my business, waiting for a drink at the resort bar. Then I saw this girl I swore I knew from back home. I called out, "Lisa. Lisa from finance? Girl, what are you doing out here with your sugar daddy?" She turned around slowly, and her face was pale. And the man next to her, not a sugar daddy, her brand new husband, as in they had literally gotten married that morning. I tried to backpedal. I said I was joking. I said, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that." But it was too late. Her husband dropped his drink and walked off. Lisa chased after him, yelling his name across the lobby. The bartender looked at me like I had just ruined someone's life. Later that night, I heard through someone else at the resort that they had a huge fight, didn't show up to the honeymoon dinner, and ended up booking separate flights home. I never saw Lisa again. I don't even know if she went back to work. But the guilt, it came home with me. Sometimes your mouth moves faster than your memory, and the damage it causes can't be taken back. Because we're all listening.
I know what I did sounds messed up, but I need you to hear the whole story. I went to Cabo with my friend Jasmine for her birthday. We've known each other since college. We're not dating. We've just always traveled well together. But Jasmine, she has a temper, like a serious one. So we're walking downtown, and this street vendor tries to sell her a bracelet. She says no. He keeps talking. She shouts at him. He gets upset. She knocks over a table of souvenirs. The vendor yells, and the police show up almost immediately. Now me? I'm thinking they'll give her a warning or maybe a fine. Nope, they put her in handcuffs. She starts screaming my name, saying, "Come with me. Don't leave me." But I froze. I didn't speak Spanish. I didn't want to get caught up in something I didn't start. So I did what I thought was safest. I turned around, walked back to the hotel, grabbed my stuff, and caught my flight the next morning. She came back 4 days later. She had bruises, her phone was dead, and her passport was nearly confiscated. She cussed me out in a long voice message and blocked me right after. I haven't heard from her since. Part of me regrets not staying. But another part of me knows she's been dragging me into drama for years, and maybe I was just finally done being her cleanup crew. Sometimes it's not that you don't care, it's that you finally care more about yourself. Because we're all listening.
My cousin Nia invited me to Bali. She paid for the Airbnb. She booked the flights with her points. She said all I had to do was show up with good energy and my half of the food budget. She had just gotten out of a breakup and said this was her healing trip. At first, I was there for her. I really was. But on day 2, we met this group of guys from Australia. And one of them, James, was into me. Like hard. We started hanging out with them. We'd go to their villa, party on the beach, explore temples during the day. I didn't think it was a big deal. But Nia started pulling away. She'd make up excuses to stay in. She said she was tired or had a headache. But I knew what it really was. She felt left out. One night, she finally snapped. She said, "You hijacked my trip. This was supposed to be about me, and you turned it into some dating reality show." I told her she was being dramatic, but deep down, I knew she was right. I wasn't there to help her heal. I was too busy shining. When we got back home, we barely spoke for 3 months. We're cool now, but I've never forgotten what she said. You can go anywhere in the world, but if you take the wrong energy with you, you're still a problem in paradise. Some trips show you the scenery. Others show you who you really are, because we're all listening.
I took a girls' trip to Greece with my 2 best friends. We had been planning it for months, maybe even a year. We all needed a break, me especially. At the time, I was dating a guy named Kevin. We'd been together about 5 months. Nothing too serious, but he was consistent. He texted, "Good morning." He remembered my favorite candy. He even helped me pack for the trip. So imagine how guilty I felt when I met Leo. He was our local tour guide in Sydney. He had this warm accent, like his words were always smiling. He wasn't just attractive, he was present. He paid attention, knew little details about the island, remembered my name, and used it like it meant something. The first few days, we were just talking, laughing, learning, walking. I thought it was innocent, until it wasn't. One night, after a sunset wine tasting, we walked along the cliffs near the water. He looked at me, and I could tell he was about to kiss me, and I didn't stop it. I told myself it didn't mean anything. It was just a moment. But when I got back to the hotel, I cried, because I knew that moment would stay with me longer than the trip ever would. When I got back home, Kevin picked me up from the airport. He brought flowers and opened my door for me, and I couldn't look him in the eye. For 2 weeks, I avoided conversations about the future. Eventually, I broke up with him. Not because I wanted to be with Leo, but because, in that moment with Leo, I felt something Kevin had never made me feel. I felt chosen, and that told me everything I needed to know. Some vacations show you new places. Others show you the truth you've been hiding from, because we're all listening.
We were celebrating our second anniversary. I paid for the resort in Jamaica. He promised to plan the excursions and cover the fun stuff. We agreed this would be the trip to reset everything. We had been arguing a lot back home about bills, the future, his attitude, so I thought a trip would bring us closer. I had no idea it would end the relationship for good. One night, we decided to go into town instead of staying at the resort. There was this small, open-air bar with loud music, cheap drinks, and a mixed crowd. I felt safe at first, but about 20 minutes in, I noticed a group of girls looking at me weird. I wasn't being extra. I was just dancing with my boyfriend, having fun. One of them brushed up against me. I said, "Excuse me," and she said, "Watch yourself, tourist." Before I could even respond, she pushed me. Then someone else grabbed my hair. Then someone else started swinging. It was 3 of them. I was trying to fight back, but I couldn't keep up. And my man, he just stood there, didn't step in, didn't yell, didn't do anything. The bartender and a couple people from the crowd broke it up. I was bleeding. One of my sandals was gone. My hair was messed up. We got back to the hotel, and I asked him why he didn't help. He said, "I didn't want to get involved and make it worse. They could have jumped me too." That's when I realized I wasn't safe with him, not just physically, but emotionally. When things got hard, he froze. I ended the trip early. I ended the relationship the moment we landed, because if you can't protect me when I'm down, you don't deserve to stand next to me when I'm up. Love is more than words. It's action and silence that told me everything, because we're all listening.
We went to Rome for our honeymoon. My wife had always dreamed of visiting Italy, eating pasta, tossing coins in the Trevi fountain, wine under the stars. I wanted her to have that, but I also wanted us to be smart. Before the trip, I told her, "Don't bring flashy jewelry. Don't carry your real purse. Let's blend in." She smiled and said I was being paranoid. So the first full day, she wore her wedding necklace and the Cartier watch I bought her for our wedding. I didn't fight her on it. I just kept my mouth shut. We were at this street market near Piazza Navona. It was crowded. I felt someone bump me. Then someone else brushed past her. Within seconds, her purse was gone. Inside was her passport, her AirPods, our credit card, and yes, the watch. She panicked. She cried. She looked at me like I was going to fix it. And I snapped. I said, "This is why I told you not to wear that stuff. Why don't you ever listen?" She broke down. And in that moment, I didn't even care. I just felt angry. We didn't speak for the rest of the day. She slept facing the wall that night. I barely slept at all. When we got back home, I realized the truth. I wasn't mad because she got robbed. I was mad because I felt powerless. And instead of protecting her, I punished her. I turned my fear into blame. That robbery took her things, but I was the one who robbed us of peace. Sometimes the biggest damage on vacation doesn't come from a stranger. It comes from the person right beside you, because we're all listening.
I went to Puerto Rico with my wife to celebrate her getting a big promotion. It was supposed to be her moment, her win. She'd been working overtime, holding us down while I was in between jobs. I wanted to be supportive. I really did. But something in me, something stupid and insecure, got triggered during that trip. She was glowing, confident, even flirtier than usual. Guys were staring at her at the beach, at dinner, everywhere. And instead of being proud of her, I got jealous. On our second night there, she went to bed early. Said her head was hurting from too much sun. I stayed downstairs at the bar. That's when I met Isabella, the bartender. She was funny, easy to talk to, and she listened while I vented about my job situation. 1 drink became 3. Next thing I knew, we were in the back storage room. And yeah, it happened. I snuck back upstairs around 3 a.m. My wife never woke up. I haven't told anyone this, but I've never looked at myself the same since. The worst part? It wasn't about Isabella. It was about me being too weak to sit in my own insecurity.
So mistakes don't cost you your relationship. They cost you your peace. Because we're all listening.
This happened during a guy's trip to Costa Rica. It was supposed to be 7 days of beach adventure and no drama. We've been doing annual trips since college, a tradition, but that year, I had just started dating this girl named Ania. We weren't official yet, but it was getting serious fast. I told myself I'd still go on the trip and enjoy it. But halfway through, I started missing her like crazy. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. And when she sent me a voice note saying, "I wish you were here instead of there," I made a choice. I booked a flight home 3 days early. Didn't tell the guys until the morning I left. They were pissed, especially since I was the only one who spoke Spanish and had the rental car in my name. They had to take taxis for the rest of the trip. They still bring it up in the group chat. Anya and I dated for a year after that, but we didn't last. She never asked me to come home early. I did that on my own. Love makes you do dumb things. But the real ones don't ask you to choose, because we're all listening.
It was my birthday. My girl took me to an all-inclusive resort in the Dominican Republic. The place was beautiful palm trees, swim-up bars, all the food you could eat. But I had one rule. Don't disrespect my woman. That's where I draw the line. So we're at the pool, right? She's taking pictures, looking fine. And this group of guys from New York walks past. One of them says, "Yo ma, turn around for me real quick." She ignores him. I tell them, "Chill." But one of them keeps talking. If you weren't here, I'd have her in my room by now. I blacked out. All I remember is swinging. Tables got knocked over. Security ran in. My girl was screaming my name. They separated us, took me to the back office, and banned me from the property. We had to leave that night. No refund, and am now permanently banned from every hotel under that chain's name. She told me she appreciated me standing up for her, but wished I had handled it better. I told her, if I let them disrespect you in front of me, I'd never respect myself again. Sometimes, defending your pride comes at the cost of peace. And yeah, I paid for it, because we're all listening.
I went on a cruise with my boys last year. 5 nights, nothing too crazy. I was fresh out of a breakup and trying to get my confidence back. On day 2, I met this woman named Elena. She was beautiful, older than me by a few years, and she asked what I did for work. Now, at the time, I had just gotten laid off. But instead of telling her the truth, I said I was a creative director for a fashion brand. She lit up, said she worked in marketing and had tons of questions. I faked my way through them. Every day we met up, drinks, dinner, dancing. I kept the lie going. On the last night, she introduced me to her cousin, who just happened to be a real creative director for a real fashion brand. He asked me questions I couldn't answer. Elena just sat there watching me squirm. I excused myself and never came back. I left the ship with my tail between my legs. I lied because I didn't think unemployed and figuring it out was enough. But I've learned confidence isn't about who you pretend to be. It's about owning where you're really at, because we're all listening.
Look, I wasn't trying to scam anybody. I just wanted to look the part. My homegirl invited me to Dubai for her cousin's birthday. They were all influencers, bottle girls, dancers, girls with real money, or men with money. Me? I had just enough in my savings and a credit card with a little breathing room, so I went. But from the moment we landed, I felt the pressure to keep up. Designer bags, private cars, hotel rooms with rooftop jacuzzis. Everything was over the top. I didn't want to be the only one asking, "How much is that?" So I faked it, rented a designer bag, used Afterpay for a pair of Louboutins, and told everyone I worked in international finance, whatever that means. It was going okay until day 4. We went to this luxury mall, and one of the girls dared me to try on a diamond bracelet at a boutique. The saleswoman was polite, but clearly watching me like a hawk. I smiled, asked if she could hold it while I FaceTimed my fiancé. She said, "Okay." I stepped outside, and suddenly security approached me. Apparently, She thought I was trying to leave without paying. The whole group saw it. I had to explain, show my ID, show my card, even show my Instagram to prove I wasn't stealing. I was humiliated. The staff let me go, but the vibe was ruined. The girls started treating me different. One of them said, "Why lie when you could just be real?" And that stuck with me. I flew home early, returned the bag, canceled the shoes, blocked 2 people. I learned that when you pretend to be someone you're not, especially in another country, you're not just risking embarrassment, you're risking your freedom. Dubai humbled me, and next time I travel, I'm packing honesty first, because we're all listening.